Nailed it.
It'll be our second ever video.
Trying to find
Trying to find a good.
Try and find your right angle,
Yeah.
your cute side.
Hey,
Not even that. I'm trying to
all
find
right,
the
all
microphone's
right.
cute side.
Well,
That moves up.
no, you just make sure you're where you feel comfortable. It's covering your damn face, but that's okay. Nobody needs that.
Hey, everyone wants.
Nobody
to
wants to see Dave. It might get you
Yes.
too.
Look at
So,
that.
Yeah, we're fine. We're good. It's catching a lot of extra room. There's not really anything I can do about that.
Spritzed me.
That's what she said. All right.
All right.
You know how we do things, Jake.
You know what would be neat to go right there? A banner.
Or, bear with me here. It can show my cool shit on the wall.
And, yeah, your cool shit that you talk about
Please
on
buy
all
my
these
amp.
other episodes.
I
Yeah,
do.
Buy my amp.
All right, so we'll just go to it.
Let's do it.
All right. Hey, I'm Bob.
I'm Jake.
Welcome to Nailed It
Nailed
the
It the
podcast.
Podcast.
Hey, guest. Don't jump in on us.
No.
So we have a guest today. We haven't had a guest this season yet.
Look at me.
Yes.
I'm the captain now.
And of course, it's our good friend Dave.
What's up,
Dave's in
everyone?
the house. We've been talking about getting you on here since like the day we recorded.
Yeah.
We mentioned you from day one, mostly because we're in a band together. But
Yeah.
let's pretend we never met you before, Dave.
Okay.
Two bands.
Two Hey, we never met him before. Go ahead and tell our listeners here who you are, what you do, how it is.
Well, I
Look
don't
at me
like-
leading the
I
conversation,
don't like
making it
talking
order.
about myself that much, but okay.
What are you currently doing?
What am I currently doing? I am lead singer in a Disturbed tribute called Stricken. I'm the lead singer of a band called Listexia. I'm a backup singer, best bass player in the world, Lauren. Best bass player in Central PA, Lauren. I just want to let you know that. And
She does.
if you
listen,
want lessons, doesn't she listen? Does
She
listen?
does. Yeah, she's
Oh,
one
yeah.
of our 3 listeners.
Okay, great.
So that we are.
I just
aware
want,
of.
if you want lessons, I've been telling you a long time, I can teach you.
That's fair.
So-
That's fair.
But yeah,
As Dave has mentioned, we are all together in the band Nailed It, which is where we got the name of this podcast from.
yep.
That is something actually that has its own history. That was just you and me.
Yes, it was.
We were doing our acoustic gigs and our duo gigs, and we decided Close Enough was funny because that's pretty much what we were doing with our stuff, and then realized there was some other band in Central PA
Right.
called Close Enough doing acoustic covers.
How many people reached out to us and told us that?
Yeah, we got a good. I was like,
you
all right,
know,
well,
there's a band called that. I was like, yeah,
never heard of them.
they're not us. No, I'm just
and
kidding.
still haven't seen them anywhere, but that's fine. So
So
We
you,
switched-
so you guys started as a duo.
yes, I guess the history of that would be we were both doing separate things. I was playing with BJ, you were
Mhm.
playing with Katie at the time,
yes,
and then we started picking up a couple gigs because I think either I was helping you out because she couldn't play,
Mhm.
or BJ couldn't play and you were helping me out.
Right.
And somehow it ended up we realized it was just better that way.
and then we were just then it just evolved that we started doing more gigs together.
So we decided we better make it some more official. And then after we did that and that was going well, we strong armed Ken and BJ into changing See You Next Friday, the
Yeah,
whole band into Nailed It because it just didn't make sense to have 2 different things going on.
right.
And then of course that just is where it's been since.
Well, that's not too far off from how I wound up playing shows with you.
That's true.
Mhm.
Hey, you want to play a gig? Yeah. All right. Be here
Yeah.
at this time.
Yeah.
That's pretty much about when I joined, when it was See You Next Friday.
Yeah.
I was like, we're looking for a bass player. I was like, and he didn't think, because I haven't played bass in years.
And I know you were a bass
I was like,
player.
hey, I'll do it. I just showed up one day, and BJ and I go way back. Way back
Way back. Yeah.
from the band Seep,
That's
Back in the
actually
day.
how I
or even further than that. He was in another band with me called Not Like You.
I'm not sure I ever heard that.
No, that was a long, long time ago. I was like, I don't even think I was 21 yet.
Phew.
So-
Centuries ago.
Or I
then.
turned, just turning 21. And one
whole
day
nother
BJ,
lifetime.
BJ came out to the show. I was like, are you in a band? And he's like, no. I was like, now you are. And the next day he showed up to practice and he was in my band.
Yeah, that's how it works. Yeah. that's-
You know what? I just had another thing. It goes further back than that.
Oh, my God.
I ran into BJ on my senior week.
This is the story I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Senior
like,
week.
Just sitting here, just
I
sitting
was,
down or something. Or you
yeah,
were,
I was just walking down the boardwalk. I think I was hungover pretty good.
well, senior week. It should be.
And like a group of guys were sitting on the thing on that border, and they just yelled out, "Hey, do you play bass?" I was like, "I do." And they're like, "Are you from York?" I was like, "I am." It was sort of like that Step Brothers. Did we just go best friends?
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So
Yeah, that's
So it
story.
goes
That's
way
the
back.
story I had heard, but I had not heard about the other band. I don't know if that ever came up that I remember.
and I think we called ourselves Shericon. You know what Shericon is, right?
No.
Disney. The Disney tiger from the
the
Jungle
tiger
Book.
from Jungle Book.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. We were called
Oh,
Shericon.
yeah, shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
Oh, shit.
So yeah, it goes way back.
So, I mean, when did you start playing an instrument, though? I'm not sure.
15.
I was going to say, I'm not sure if we've ever discussed this, at any point about age-wise. I know you've been playing since you were a teenager, but
Yeah, I started playing. I got a bass for Christmas from my parents. It was a little Epiphone. It was called the flower bass. It had little flowers on it. It was total hippie.
oh, nice.
But
nice.
yeah, I had that's where I started playing bass.
I still play an Epiphone bass. I have my Epiphone P
Hey, man,
bass.
whatever works. You, when did you start singing? I mean, how did that even come about?
It came about when I was in. It was a band called Promise Threat.
You guys, maybe you're picking this up on the audio, folks, of the birds that have nested in my attic above the studio. So every so often they just decide to start chiming in. So just pretend we're outside and it's super calm.
Yeah.
It's
Anyway.
ambient noise.
Yeah, anyway, you were saying.
It was a band called Promise Threat. I just went in there as a bass player at first, and one day the singer of the band can play guitar, but he couldn't play and sing at the same time. And then and they already had two guitar players, but one day the one guitar player kept not showing up. So then we had to practice, and the singer bought his guitar and sang, and he goes, "But I can't sing." And I was like, "Well, I can try." And from that point on, I played bass and sang.
That's not too far off, with the exception of playing an instrument, which both you guys know I don't even do well still. But that was the same thing. I was out seeing bands, and guys were like, "Oh, we should start a band. We should need a singer." I guess I can do it. I can't be any worse than the guys we just saw last night.
Yeah.
It was more or less, no one else wants to do it. I guess I'll do it. But
yep.
I didn't have I had zero musical background when I started doing that, except for like stuff from school. I played drums and stuff when I was younger, but I'd given up on that, because girls and such.
You were the hype man for Partial.
That
right?
was later.
Was that later?
That was after I got into it. That was Jay really thought that was going to be something, and I really appreciated that he took the time. But man, nobody liked that.
No,
nobody liked that. I got more anonymous slander on the internet from the 6 months I was with that band than I'll ever get in the rest of my life. From people that it turns out I found out later. I apologize. It was me. I didn't want to put my name. I didn't want you to feel bad. It wasn't the same. I'm like, fuck you.
Yeah.
And I told you I had been working. Instant Transmission was coming together then. And I told Jay at some point I was going to bow out because I was going to go do that.
Yeah.
So it kind of worked. He went on, like back then we had the guest book still and stuff, the website. And he went on and he went to bat for me. He's like, you guys are just assholes, don't want change. And
right.
I just graciously said, I'm not trying to change anything. I was a fan of the band too.
Okay.
I'm going to back out. But man, they were just, and I'm not saying I was great, but Jesus, they were brutal. For a guy who's just there to like hype people up and sing a couple extra lines, they were really angry. But yeah, I mean, that was Partial Post is probably why I got into it.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to see live bands, and Jay came to work at Volkswagen when I was there as a mechanic. He's like, I got this band, come out. I'm like, I don't need a live music, man. That's not really my thing.
Right.
That worked out for me, didn't it? But we started going and hanging out with him and stuff, and that's what really got me seeing.
You got that taste, though.
Well, and that's
as soon as you get the taste, you just want to put more.
I didn't actually get on stage though until after Post became Juice. and Jay left.
Right.
First
okay.
time I got on stage was with Carrie let me up to sing one night.
Okay.
Partial Post got back together later, and that's when Jay brought me on. That's when I'd already had my first band and stuff. But yeah, I owe a lot to that band. It just the connection that the scene. That's how I saw you guys in Seep.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have been coming to the Wheelie Bar if it weren't for Jay telling me to come to the Wheelie Bar.
I wouldn't. The Wheelie Bar is the
And then
only time I went there was when I played.
My first band, they asked us to open so much. I think we played there 2 or 3 times a month.
Yeah.
For like 6 months. Like that's the only place we're there.
Yeah.
Like I spent a lot of time in that place, but I would have never met a lot of guys. I mean, and I don't think we really chatted at all. I'm not even sure we actually physically met. But at that point, that would have been the same time I would have at least seen, if not, we'll say met you, Ray, BJ,
right.
Fran, like all you guys that I would come to later, you know what I mean, hang out with. Like,
yeah.
I saw you guys playing. I loved it. Honestly, I loved Seep. And I'm sure you've probably told this to people in the ass. I mean, you guys wanted to be the next Korn.
Yes.
I mean,
well, it started off, well, you had the Korn vibe, like the music.
Right.
Was very Kornish. But then Limp Bizkit came in, and I kind of meshed Limp Bizkit and Korn together, so morphed it in there.
Side note, I just found out yesterday or today, sometime this week is the 25th anniversary of Significant Other.
I saw that.
25 years.
Yeah.
And that's the album that, I mean, $3 Bill was out, but that's the album that blew them up. And I'm like, man, 25 years. Jake was barely alive.
Yeah. Were you?
I was 1.
Oh. Okay. Wow.
This comes up a lot in our podcast. But the age difference between us.
I think I'm going to go home now, guys.
No, we're closer in age than we are to him. We outnumber him this time.
No, yeah, but Seep was cool. I wish I can tell you all the big stories. I know we played out a lot, but that was a weird time. Drank so much. Yeah, we drank so much.
A lot of things get forgotten in those days.
Oh, we played with so many bands. Like one of our first shows was with Snot.
Really?
Like we played this. It was called CC's. You ever hear that up in Altoona?
Yeah.
CC's to me is a pizza place.
Yeah. Well, we played up there.
Yeah.
We did that. We were one of the first bands that played, but Snot was the headliner. And I just remember that was one of our first shows.
That's cool.
And the place was crazy. Like there was rafters and all that. People were hanging from rafters. It was mosh. It was just bloodshed. Like
it was metal.
BJ playing guitar. His guitar got blood on it. His sneakers got blood on it. Just from people.
Holy moly.
Yeah, people were just crazy that
night. What if it was that one?
It might have been. It was the white one?
The white one.
It very well could be.
Yeah, that's the one that I was given back to me. They said that the gentleman gave it to me said was he bought it from BJ and then put it in a case and never played it.
Yeah.
And I thought I had it looked at. I had our buddy Rich Campbell look at it. I'm like, just make sure everything's good on it. I'm never going to play it. And I said, this thing's completely right-handed. I know BJ could play a right-left, but even the nut, everything, I'm like, I don't know how this was ever left-handed. He's like, well, because first of all, it's super nice. He loves guitars of that era. But he said, dude, there's a hole on the other side for a strap lock to run this left-handed. Okay. Because I would guarantee you this was BJ's guitar, and he just left the strings the way they were and played them upside down.
It is a very nice guitar.
And I was like, holy shit. So, yeah, I at first I thought maybe the story, the gentleman I got it from had the wrong story. Like BJ sold it to him, but it wasn't BJ's guitar.
Okay.
But I'm convinced that it was at some time his. I mean, there's no way no one's around that's going to remember that.
Right.
Like, you wouldn't remember that for sure. But
no.
That definitely came out of that era if it was his. So
yeah, but that's like Seep went on for a while, and then that fizzled out just because.
Well, that was like 99, 2000, like maybe late 90s, right?
Yeah.
I guess it would have been like 2000 or so when I saw you guys, maybe.
Yeah. We started fizzling out. It's like it just got crazy. Like we were just
more
everybody was doing
music.
Yeah, it was it got pretty. That was the one band, I believe Wendy, she was Ray's girlfriend or engaged her. We did have a possibility to play up at CBGB's. We did have some A&R reps that were supposed to come out to that because it was the same guys that were A&R reps from that were the Seven Dust album, but the bass player couldn't do it.
Oh,
You couldn't do it. It was a Wednesday night.
Ooh.
So that kind of like we were like all hyped about it. And kind of after that point, it started like, we missed our mark.
You missed your opportunity
So
in that aspect. So from there, it was right to head case?
no,
Tribal Vision.
Tribal Vision. Yeah.
Tribal Vision. I almost forgot.
Yeah, Tribal
that
Vision.
might be where we actually met.
Yeah.
I have a distinct memory the first time I saw you guys was that it might have been Chuck E. B's then. It might have still been Emerson's. I don't remember. I don't remember it was Chuck E. B's till it ended. It might have been Emerson's ahead of time.
Right. I was
my God.
going back through. I have so many bands.
The
Tribal Vision was cool. It's good. That's where I met Kenny, who is in Bullet Method. But that was cool. I stepped in from a singer. Keep talking about stepping in to things like that. And I have another story when I played with Green Eggs.
Oh yeah.
The hate I got from that.
Yeah, I was around for that.
But anyway, but yeah, Tribal Vision was cool. It was totally different. That was the peak where like it was crazy. Like we played every weekend.
That was the time.
It was like
you could
place you can go. Thursday, Friday, Saturday. You can play every night and the place would be packed.
Which you just can't do anymore.
Yeah. And just went through the years with that. I went about 5 years with that. And then I was getting sick all the time because I would work so much, do a show, work, show. I was getting sick like almost to the point where I almost said, I'm done with music.
Yikes.
Because I was like, I'm sick all the time. It just can't be healthy.
Right. No, not at all.
But then like after 6 to 8 months, I was like, people can tell my attitude. Like I was itching to do it again. And then that's when I joined Headcase.
Now Headcase was ground up, right?
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And
I guess they were, we all named it Headcase together, but they were a band already.
So that who I know it was Joe and John and Earl,
Ray.
Yeah, and you stepped in.
Yeah. Ray actually called me and asked if I wanted to try out for them, and I went in there and yeah, that was a good experience.
You guys did that for a long time.
That was like 10 years.
You do the Harley thing. Didn't you do the 100th anniversary?
Yeah, up in
like the main
Milwaukee.
Plant. Yeah.
Milwaukee. Yeah,
we did some stuff.
We got that gig, and that was good times too. I will not be good, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of ego in that band too.
And there's probably, and I think we've probably talked about this at some point over a couple of beers. I think that probably was a specific age to like everybody gets in a mindset when you're at a certain age.
Yeah.
Like you get your 20s, you think you can do anything. You get in your 30s, and if you're successful with it, then you think you are doing everything. You know, I guess I don't know. I mean, I wasn't involved in it. I mean, we weren't hanging out then. At that point, I knew who you were.
And and you thought I was a total ass.
I was going to say I remember, and I distinctly think I'm pretty sure I got that from one of your shows at the Village.
Okay.
Because we had never really talked, and I didn't think that of you really with Tribal, because you guys were just a different vibe.
Yeah.
But I distinctly remember being at one show at the Village. I was like, what an asshole this guy is. Like the way,
the way I portrayed myself on stage.
But I didn't.
Yeah.
It didn't click with me, and I should have known that I was a guy who was also on stage.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it turns out you are an asshole, but you're my kind of asshole.
Yeah. I was like, when I'm on stage, like, yeah,
you're a different guy on stage.
Yeah.
And because you know how to be the singer on stage and not off stage.
Right.
There's plenty of guys you and I have both met over the years.
I
don't
know
how to turn it off.
Yeah.
Ever. And you've always been like that. You know how to work a crowd. You're a hell of a front man, but you also know how to go home and
he's all right.
Hey. Adults are talking. We're not up to your area yet. We're still in the mid 2000s right now. You're still in high school.
Jake will get more involved the last 5 minutes of this podcast. But I guess I had a lot of that perception, just being like that. But people wouldn't talk to me either.
But
people didn't come up to me and like.
I think the music lent to that, not just the cover stuff you're doing, even the original stuff. It was an aggressive nature. It was I think to people that didn't know you guys, that probably the perception might have been these guys are, hard rock metal guys. You know what I mean? I'm not going to speak for people because I don't understand people at all. And I've worked in retail my whole life. So But I think, at least for me, I think that might have been part of it without me really knowing it.
Yeah.
But hey, it was a successful thing for you.
Yeah.
Maybe one of the more successful things you've done, I would get, at least as far as the opportunities you got from it.
Yeah.
You wrote what, 2 albums? 3.
Well, yeah, it was kind of a mixed thing. Like we had one album that we just recorded in Joe's studio up garage,
right?
And it was okay. But the official CD, we actually went into it was Rock Hollow Records down in Tucker.
Yeah.
It was his studio.
Yeah, because you
would like him because he was the sound man for Wrestle for WWE.
Oh, really?
He was the sound. He did all the walk-ins, intros, and all that stuff.
Shit.
And we should point out to anybody who doesn't know. I mean, all these projects were kind of predicated on being original bands, right? And you did covers just because.
Yeah,
which we all had to do at some point.
Yep.
Yeah.
None of them started out as cover bands, I assume, right?
Except Tribal Vision.
Tribal was.
They were. Then we started writing the
originals.
But
you cut at least one album with.
I cut an album. I cut an album with almost every one of my bands.
Yeah. Yep.
Like, I wish I had some of the old ones, like The Promised Threat, The Not Like You.
Oh, so you had albums.
We had like tapes. Yeah, they had tapes.
You know what a tape is?
Oh yes, I know what cassette tapes.
Yeah,
that thing. That thing.
Yeah, we had that. Almost every one of my bands. So like, I always loved writing music. Like even when I started playing bass, like when I got into learning how to play it, I started writing lyrics to it. Like the songs were total junk, but
no, everybody starts somewhere.
But yeah, I was
stays there like me anyway.
But that's what people like when I joined bands. They were like, "Oh, you write too? Great!" Blah, blah, blah. And
well, that was a different time then too. I think. I mean, I was just dipping my feet in it, and, but at least back late 90s and early 2000s or mid 2000s, like writing originals was a thing. Yeah. Cover bands were always there, but like that was just something you could still watch MTV and get inspired.
Until I got into Seep though, it was like so weird. All the stuff I wrote, like we were like 5 years behind. Like it was that type of music and
right.
new genres, new stuff was coming out. Like so, every time we show it to somebody, they were like, "Well, yeah, that would have been great back in '95, but now it's 2000." That's so. Seep was the first band that was like right there with it, with the new metal stuff, which was
that's a scene. That's a scene I think we both probably spent a lot of time in. Like, I mean, it made a difference in what I was into and what I wanted for sure. But you also have, I mean, you go back, you've got metal roots and old school stuff which is never me. I was listening to Huey Lewis and Michael Jackson, and you were listening to like, probably like Skid Row.
If you go back when I was a kid, I was like, the first 2 tapes I ever got when I got my radio was Breakin'.
Oh yeah.
And Motley Crue. So it was always a meld. I always liked metal and rap.
Well, this would be I think part of the reason maybe we have gotten along over the years because I find that tend to hang out with people who we have that common thread somewhere, especially rap. That surprises a lot of people when I tell them that.
Yeah.
You listen to what now? I'm like,
I would listen to rap like crazy. I was a break dancer. I was all that.
See, I can see that because you got a little bit of a little rhythm to you when you're on stage.
We've seen those dance moves.
But yeah, so when the new metal scene came out and that was melted together, I was like,
I found my
people. I was made for this.
This is my tribe. Yeah. I live here.
So yeah.
Right. And then, so Headcase, when did that stop? 2010-ish? No, earlier than that maybe.
Probably 2010, 2011, somewhere around there.
I have trouble remembering when, because at that point we were using Joe's garage studio. Chimpo was.
Mm-hmm.
But that band started in 2009. And we didn't practice there right away. So you guys were still together.
I would say, because there was that, when it got to the point where Headcase was fizzling out, it had to be like 2011, 2012. Seems about right. Because soon after when Headcase fizzled out, that's when I had the lovely time with Green Eggs.
Oh, that's right.
because Headcase was Phil, and
That
then
was pre-Bullet Method, wasn't it?
yes,
Ah, wow. I can't
'Cause-
believe it was that long ago.
because Green Eggs came along because the singer had appendicitis, and Brad and Brian are brothers. Brian's a singer, and then Brad was the bass player. And one day, Brad called me. Brian's sick. We have this wedding to do and another show due in like 2 weeks, and we can't cancel it. Can you fill in? I was like, I can try. I never did. Anybody that knows me I'm just that screamer,
Yeah.
yeller.
It's hard to break shake that.
And then they sent me the set list, and it was like Build Me Up Buttercup.
I remember you
all this
showing me
stuff.
the
I
list.
was like, okay, let's see where I could go with it. And I did okay. But the hate.
The hate from the
I've
fans.
But I mean, a lot of people liked it. It was different because Brian had that high voice. Like
Brian has an unnaturally high voice. That you look at the guy and don't think that's what he's going to sing. But you get through like a Michael Jackson song or something.
Oh, he nailed Michael Jackson.
Really?
Yeah.
He was, and he had a certain. He would get up on stage barefoot, like he was just a different. He was definitely a different type of
now
lead
at
singer.
that point, Green Eggs had probably been together 15 years at least. They were and the backstory of that a little bit that I know of is, I mean, they were big in the party scene.
Yes, they were party
huge.
bands.
Yeah.
Green Egg. There was back in the day. It was like Green Eggs, Toy Box, Negative Space is one of them. They were just bands that you saw at the beaches and the clubs, and they were one of them. So I think for a lot of people to hear that you were,
people were like, I cannot believe Dave's singing for Green Eggs. Well, I was doing it as a favor. Sure, it expands me. It expanded my singing capabilities. Right. So
that helped you later, I think.
Yes. Too. And then but through that, it was probably a span of 4 to 6 months because Brian didn't think he wanted to come back. So Brad asked me if I would do the shows that they had booked. And that's where I met Jake, your drummer.
From Fell
From Zero, yeah.
Which blew my mind when I was approached about that band. Like, we got a drummer. I'm like, cool. So, Jake, he's the drummer in Green Eggs. I'm like, to play metal?
Yeah.
He and I still joke about that 10 years later.
He was a total metalhead. Because I remember when I came in, we did not rehearse with Green Eggs for that show I had to do.
The wedding show?
Wedding?
It wasn't. I can't believe if it was the wedding or if it was for some reason, I think it was the wedding though. Because I came in and they wanted to do a sound check. And of course we did Alice in Chains for a sound check. And I sang that. And I think Jake and the guitar player, his name's Day. His last name's Day.
I can't remember now either.
No disrespect if he watches this or anything like that.
No,
but anyway,
I'm sure he's gonna be real upset when he finds out.
But they were nervous, rightfully so. I showed up and sang a couple songs with them. I did that, and I did another poppy song. And then they were cool, but then they weren't happy. Yeah. And I don't blame them. But after a few months, Brian and Brad started talking, and one day Brad just said, "Hey, just want to tell you, Brian's coming back, and you're out." And click. I was like,
that was the conversation?
That was the conversation. I called him back. I was like, dude, I'm okay with it. It's like, I understand totally.
That was a little harsh.
It felt harsh, but I had people come up to me. We're just going to call you not Brian.
Not Brian.
I was like, okay.
Yeah, that people are dicks.
Yeah.
I should say people like what they like, and I understand that. And people, especially in music, especially something established, they hate change. They hate it.
Oh, and
I get it.
Yeah. And I would not feel bad about if Brian wanted to come back the next day.
It was a fill-in.
Yeah, I was always mindset that I'm filling in.
Yeah, you weren't going to be the permanent guy in Green Eggs in your head, and probably not in theirs either. I mean, but
we had we even had gigs up in New York. We played, it was like corporate gigs, and we went up there, and I came out singing, and we did one set, and the people were like, "That's not what we
signed up for." Well, they should have known. Brad should have known that, but
right. But Brad,
hindsight.
Brad did tell him, And then, but they were like, this is not what we remember you guys as, because we were playing some different songs.
Right.
That would be more catered to me, but
right. Well, you got to do that too.
But yeah, so after that show, I believe I was like, I don't think I'll.
Yeah, because I came to.
Yeah.
I mean, I saw you do it a couple times, and we did that trip to the beach at Nalu for my birthday that year. As we watched the Rusty Rudder across the street, who said they were closing that year and have been open 10 years since. Just people in like droves, like buses getting dropped off.
And who was the band that was playing there? Said that it was their last show too.
And people were just going over there. We were just watching them, and we're sitting there with like 12 people.
Yeah.
We're like, oh man.
Yeah, we looked over there. The place is jumping over there, and
nonstop too, just nonstop people rolling in like the whole time. But you did let me get to sing a song.
Yes,
so
that was before you played the beach. You were like, I always wanted to play.
First time I ever played on the stage.
I was like, come on, Bob.
So that was fun. Got something on it.
Yeah,
it was a good time. Road trips are fun.
Then
from right there, were you already working on Bullet Method at that point?
During that time, Eric was like, would you want to go into the studio and record these songs? And I was like, yeah.
Yeah, he had, and we've talked about this before. He'd sent me all those tracks, I think, while he was sending them to you. Like, hey, what do you think of these? So the core stuff from your album, I had kind of heard those versions before you get lyrics to them. But I can't imagine. And I think you guys even coded them the Seven Dust song, the Kill Switch. You got. That's how he presented them to me. I'm like, you're right. That's exactly what you wrote here.
Yeah.
And he had told me at one point, he's like, yeah, I got Dave interested in these. I'm like, it's the way you're going to go, man. Trust me on this. It's you wouldn't have asked if you didn't. And those songs didn't. I don't think, from what my recollection, I might even still have those somewhere. I save everything somewhere. I don't remember them being too much more different from those bass tracks he sent out, like maybe some solo work and stuff. Now the original project was Eric doing all this stuff, but didn't some of that stuff come from his time just messing around with Josh? Right?
No, a lot of that stuff was from when he was in college.
Oh, he just sat on it.
Yeah, he had it. He had premises of it, and albeit Headcase formed a lot of those songs. Like they put a lot of those songs together. Yeah, Eric played with that. So that's one thing I will always say, that Headcase did put a lot of that together. But then when Eric left, he obviously didn't want his song. He took his songs with him. So then we did that, and then we had Josh from World's End. He did the solos on the first CD. They were on the new one, because we just added 5 songs when we got Dave Heisey. But Josh did the solos on that CD.
Now he's done a couple shows with you guys too.
Yeah,
stepped in. I remember
he did our first show,
and I remember he was on stage with you at the fair.
Yeah,
when you were Pop Evil, right? You know what that was? I think that came about because you guys just wanted to have 2 guitars, yeah,
right,
just for it to fill in or whatever.
Yeah, well, Josh really wanted to play, and Eric was like, "Well, since you're on this CD, come on out and do this."
Know the parts.
Yeah. So,
but how did you get Heisey? Wasn't there originally, right?
No, Heisey came after we recorded. We asked him to play. I didn't know Dave. I knew he played with Eric's other band.
Well, he was in Drop of Gray for a long time.
Drop of Gray, and then
I forget what that other band was.
I know he was playing with.
It escapes me too.
Yeah, but
I see Dave all the time now, and he's not one to bring up the past, so I can't remember either.
So yeah, and now but it was him, and then we did have a different bass player when we first started.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember him now. Yeah.
Yeah.
He had some home issues.
His name was Eric Garcia.
Yep.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. I remember that now.
But then we were like, yeah, well, let's keep. I had to go back to Kenny.
Wow,
Kenny's my man. Like from.
Have you ever met Kenny, Jake?
Was he at the Fats show?
Yeah. When we did the
final night?
Yeah. Then that would have been the one and only time. Again, as Bob said before recording, I had a lot to drink that night, so I don't fully recollect that. So
oh God, what?
Because I was on stage at one point for that.
Yeah,
with you two.
We could tell some stories about Kenny, but I would much rather have Kenny tell those stories.
Yeah, well,
someday we should.
I'll talk to him about coming on here.
Yeah, because that would be. Oh man, I don't think I have enough tape for that. Man. But yeah, so you brought Kenny, but so initially, let's just say from that, then it was you and Eric, Kenny, and Dave.
Yes, the original
core four.
Core four, and that's when Dave introduced his songs. So we went back into the studio to make a fuller album.
I know at least one was his.
Possession was Dave's first song on the CD that Dave introduced to the band.
Right.
And then there was Rip It Up, but that was something Eric had like in his little files.
Of course.
And then we just added to it. What was it? Taking Over. So maybe it was 4. Oh, and Faded to Zero.
Let's say that.
Yeah.
I feel it, but that wasn't on the original CD.
No, Faded to Zero wasn't on it.
I don't know. Remember that? I have a copy of it somewhere.
Now it's the first song.
First track. Yeah, it's my favorite song on the album. I don't remember that. I mean, I remember you guys going back in, and I could tell the difference. Like,
yeah.
And you got to work with the boys at Atrium, which Eric still doesn't shut up about.
No.
He commented on my Facebook yesterday about it. You need to go there, change your life. It's like, I can't afford that anymore.
Yeah.
I should have went when they were $500 per song to mix.
The second time we went there was a little more expensive. The first time we went wasn't too bad.
Yeah. He was trying to get me to just go record. He goes, it'll cost you $500. Record it. They'll mix it, everything. That's it. One track. I'm like, I don't think I have the time or a good enough song to waste $500 on.
Yeah.
And then every year he's like, you should go to them. I'm like,
the amazing thing about them though, like if you have a premise,
right,
they'll build it on, and you'll be like amazed.
Well, and I know several people now in my musical circles that have gone to them, even just recently.
Yeah,
buddy of mine, Chris Shearer, went and did his album, and he's very '90s alternative based. Like his sound is that, and the difference between the stuff he recorded before and what he went to them, and he went into like a song at a time until he got an album built, is amazing. Like those guys just
know it. That was the first CD I ever recorded that was actually felt produced. Like the others albums I did, it was just like they did some producing, but they didn't really. Right. They were like, it was like that was the song and that was it. But these guys were like, all right, Dave, I hear this harmony. That was the first time I ever did harmonies on an album, because I was always the main vocal.
Right.
And everybody else did the backups.
That's
why I'm still not good at doing harmonies yet.
You went and tracked your own backup vocal.
But yeah, he would give me the melody, and then I would repeat it until I got it right, and then we kept on singing it until it meshed with the song. I was amazed by it. Yeah. That was the first time I felt really good.
I've never had a studio experience like that.
Yeah.
So I hear all these stories all the time about guys going to studios, and I've never had the chance to. I mean, I recorded my first band. We recorded an album like a day, which is terrible because we were terrible, but we won like studio time. Yeah. Like I went into a studio, and it was a cool experience to be in one, but it's that old school version of what you think a studio is. But like I hear stories like that with these guys that are just get it. I used to hear stories from the Space guys about going down with Kirk Kelsey into Georgia, and like that guy legit won Grammys.
Yeah.
Like hearing about how they work and they'd lock him out. He'd lock them out of there. He's like, I'm going to go and I got to do some corrections. You guys aren't allowed in here tomorrow. You can't hear any of this.
Yeah.
Like just the professionalism that I've never had the opportunity, but I hear about it all the time. I think, and it's so much more, I don't want to say easy. It's not easy for anyone, but I think it's easier to find a quality studio now.
Yeah.
I mean, you can find some guys working out of their house that have quality studios. And back in the day, you could not do that. You're lucky if you had a 4-track.
This guy here.
Yeah. I mean,
he can record some serious music and really good stuff too.
Thanks.
Jake's really good.
You know what this has turned into?
What?
Same
episode as Jimmy.
When we had Jimmy on, and Jimmy and I, much like Dave, have a lot of history, so we're talking back and forth. Last time, Jake's like, "Great, that was the best editing I ever had to do." I don't know if I ever talked about this on. There's a 40-minute stretch or so where Jake doesn't even say a word. I'm like,
there might be like a chuckle or two.
I don't have to edit any of his audio because he wasn't speaking; he was just listening.
He was just listening.
We're not to you yet. That's the thing here.
We'll get there.
You're learning some stuff.
But So I would agree with Eric. If you would ever go into the studio, if you have the money,
go to them.
Go to them.
I would love to.
And they'll turn your song into something
good
that you're gonna
as good as it
but
can be.
At the end of it, you'll be like, that's a solid song. Yeah, I mean,
no, that's I would love to do that. And I think someday maybe I'll get to that point. You know, the idea in my head, like anything, is you can record at home. Obviously, we just said Jake proved that, but you don't recording yourself. And I think Jake would speak to that more than I could. You don't have anybody else telling you to try something or do something. You get the idea. I assume you get an idea. You see it through. And the stuff you put out is finished music. I mean, but like he just said, what if that was you in that studio with them saying, "Hey, Jake, why don't you try this?"
Yeah.
You know, you don't have anybody looking over your shoulder at home.
Right.
So I think that's why there are studios and producers, and there's nobody producing your music. It's you just creating it.
Right.
And I wonder, man, I wonder what somebody with your creative stuff would be like if you were in that situation.
Right.
I'm not paying for it. I'm just
like what we're doing with our recordings, like it's usually just Jake and I that do it. And I want his input on it. Like I want him to do something like harmony or whatever, because he's really good at doing harmonies and stuff like that. So
you do hear the notes easy. I've noticed that when we do the acoustic stuff, you do find places to sing with me when I'm all out of key. So it's really nice. No, but yeah, I mean, that's a talent though. You were born with a talent that I don't have. Thanks. So I have a learned talent. Everything I've done with music, I learned. You know, I might have innately been able to sing when I was younger. So like I knew music, but I didn't pursue it enough. But everything I've done, I've scraped and, clawed for because I had to. Like if I was going to keep up with people, I had to put work in.
Right.
But some people, and I'm not saying you started out some virtuoso or anything.
Right.
Some people, I've met people in my life that just have a gift. You, Dave, have a gift for writing.
Yeah,
I know.
I like
writing. Pisses me off.
I love writing.
Yeah, you have a gift for writing that I have never met anybody that could do it that quickly and that like solid. Like, you just have it. And this kid here can write a lick like nobody's business in any style.
Well, that's what I said. I said this in the last episode. That when I wrote the working title when I wrote the working title of my definition, which then became "I'm Not All Right," I wrote it, sent it to you, and like within 2 hours, you had a full song written in lyrics. I was like, "This fucking guy over here."
Yeah, he's always been like that, Jake. Don't look at
No, you give me something. I saw an old post of yours the other day about writing. I know we talked about it, but we never went any further.
I had some stuff. Fellas from Zero was working on stuff, and you and I talked about a couple things. I think I'd let you hear a couple things we just never finished this stuff. In fact, we recorded 3 songs in our practice studio that we just never finished mixing. There was stuff we should have fixed. I have rough copies of all 3 of them, but the vocals are not good. Like I think I did them good enough to get a scratch track going, and we never fixed them.
Okay.
So he mixed it as best he could, but it's not good enough for me to go, hey, here's a Fell From Zero song.
Yeah.
Like the instrumentals are decent, but I'd never release that without re-recording. And at this point, when Andy had to move out of that studio and that space, he packed up the computers and stuff. They're in a warehouse somewhere. I don't even get the file. So I don't have any of the stems to go back to it. And I thought we had a track there. We thought we were getting somewhere. We had a bunch of, Donnie's a hell of a writer. So there was a lot of stuff that he had stuff, kind of like you do. Here's a track, threw some drums on it.
Yep.
Let's see what we can do. And we just never finished it because I write in long form. I feel like I got to write a novel, and you can't do that I think a little bit, I've always said, I think a little bit of that is the hip hop stuff. You got guys that are just spitting out line after line after line because you do that in hip hop. The choruses are shorter. There's not a lot. It's just a hook.
You're trying to say as much as you can.
And you can get away with that in hip hop, but in a rock song, the structure kills you. You gotta be careful
with
how
the
much
structure.
you say to fit in the time signature. And I always felt like I'm not telling the story I want to tell because why am I acting like an Italian? Hey, I just felt like I never could finish the story because I couldn't condense it into something that fit that so many bars, and it's just, again, it all comes down to lack of doing. I didn't practice it enough or do it enough to ever feel comfortable with it. Although, to be fair, I don't know that it depends on the person, I guess, who feels comfortable and doesn't. Like you might feel comfortable writing a song all the time, but maybe you don't feel as comfortable. And I don't know this. I'm just like writing on guitar, maybe, or you know what I mean. Like maybe there's aspects of it you never that aren't the strong point for you. Or same with you. Maybe there's something about what you're writing. You're like we talked about this a year or two ago with the drums. You were sending me tracks. You're like, hey,
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, the only thing about it is it sounds like you're using my first drum station.
Yeah.
And I was like, try these programs, and you got what you're using now.
The Get Good Drums.
Get Good Drums, which is what Donnie used, and it sounds like good drums, which is what it's supposed to.
Yeah.
Like it's little things you just find confidence in when you do it. I just don't do it enough.
I wish I had confidence in the recording side of things. Like I've recorded acoustic songs with me, like my songs, but they just I'm not taking the time. I haven't even touched it.
You have to go back and mix it and make sure.
Like my mixing knowledge is horrible.
See, and that's the stuff.
Like I cannot mix songs. I overproduce it, and it sounds horrible. Like things are distorted over here that I'm not hearing when I have the headphone. But when I put it in the car, I'm like, why does that cymbal sound like?
Well, and that's the stuff I really like. I think I like the technical side of that. Like I always like the idea of recording and mixing. You know, the little bit of time I ran as a sound guy, although I mean that's super limited to what you have to do with stuff, the digital stuff now. But like that's the stuff I like doing these podcasts. I like sitting down and going through editing, cutting out, background. Like I don't mind that, but my patience dies quickly, and I don't think I would want to be responsible for someone else's. Like I wouldn't want someone to have me come and mix their album.
Right.
Like, although I would love, one of you guys or somebody like, hey, I got this stuff. Let's see if you can make something out of this. Like,
right.
Just like to try it. Yeah. You know what I mean? I got these rough tracks. See what you can do with it. I'd love to do that sometime. But again, I would do the same thing you're doing, even with someone else's song. I'd overthink the shit out of it.
Right.
But I'm saying that without doing it. I'm making that assumption about myself. And who knows?
Yeah.
Maybe I just need to sit down and start recording my own stuff once in a while.
Oh, the studio I have has all these tutorials. I never looked at them. I'm like,
man, don't look at instructions.
What? Instructions? I have to sit through a seminar to write this? No. I'll just record it and make it sound like crap.
Yeah.
Here's my tin can recorder. So, why don't you guys? I mean, we had a whole discussion about your current band, the two of you, last episode, I believe. Jake gave us a rundown on it, but I mean, we should probably hear it from somebody else's side.
Well, I was thinking about this earlier. I'm trying to remember when I met you because I don't fully remember.
I don't remember when.
And I feel like it was the campground. I feel like it was at the campground.
Might have been.
It might have been
because we never officially we just ran.
We just kind of
like it was. We were in a situation with, but you probably were at shows. We were at shows together, but never.
Yeah,
well, I mean, he remembers when he met me because it was at our party we had for our 25th anniversary, our wedding.
Were you there for 20th? That?
He was not because it was held at my brother's house. I don't. I'm not going to get into details about that. I think people know us know, but Dave was not at the party, so you would not have met him there.
Okay.
We met fleetingly. That I think Lauren introduced us.
No,
I don't know. See, you remember?
No, I remember this because I was like, man, what a dick.
Oh, hey, full circle, baby.
It was right after you had finished playing because Fell From Zero played, right?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, so it was Light the Lamp, Hot and Dangerous, Fell From Zero.
Yep.
And Fell From Zero finished up, and I went up just to say, like, hey, great set. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed it. And you were, like, in the middle of packing up all your cables and stuff. You were just like, yeah, thanks. And then, like, didn't even make eye contact with me.
That sounds like Bob. That seems right.
And I was just like,
that's legit.
Okay. I like awkwardly walked away.
Probably told everybody I know. What an asshole.
And I was just like, oh, all right. And
then forward a couple years, he is an asshole. We hang out now.
But then I think after that, I started coming around to, it was probably duo shows between the two of you guys. And
at least not the falls, Seven Valleys.
Oh, Valley Tavern, yeah.
I remember that's the first time we really sat and talked because I remember talking I don't know what came up in the nerd conversation. You're like, oh, check this out. And you whipped out the Hulk.
Oh,
I'm
my
like,
Hulk
this
tattoo.
guy's got a Hulk tattoo. Wow. Then you started telling us your weird love for Batman.
So it's probably in like that. That's probably when we met. Yeah.
Probably in
Maybe.
that frame.
I feel like
But we never really talked.
that first memory I have of the two of us was at the campground because it was cold as shit and we were arguing about the Eagles.
Oh,
And that was when I had to carry him and my guitar on the back of the golf cart.
why? Why?
Because you were very not sober.
Shit face.
What?
We were hanging on the back of the golf cart.
You know,
Because
that's why I don't go to Craft Haven anymore.
Because there was
I don't
like
remember. No,
Man,
no,
I
I
don't
want
even
to.
I don't even
so want to go.
fest
I have to
anymore.
prepare my liver.
Yes.
Like I don't have
Well,
that
I mean, let's be
preparation
fair.
time.
We went so hard one time there, your brother almost died. So
No,
I remember that.
that's our story, even though that's not really what happened. That's our story.
I'm afraid of how I'm going to feel that Sunday when I go home. That's,
Well, you know, got my birthday coming up, so
I know.
But yeah, it was that night because none of us were playing.
no, we were just there to hang out.
Yeah, we were all just kind of hanging
I don't
out.
even think there was a band then. I think we were.
It was somebody was
it was
DJing.
Jen's birthday
Was it Jen's birthday?
because it was the beginning of May. It was and Lauren. It was their beginning. Christine. It was cold as shit because we're all. There's pictures of us all at the beach with like our hoodies on.
Yeah, because it's
It
a
was just
huge
really
group.
Cold that
Yeah.
Yeah, Marshall DJ'd that.
Yes,
Marshall
yes,
asked
yes,
me to
yes.
DJ Jen's birthday thing, and it was cold as hell out there.
Because that's when the reason I had my guitar on top of the golf cart was because we were all heading up to the Grove to jam around the fire. And that's when I met Heisey.
Oh, and I couldn't. I remember.
Yeah.
You wanted me to sing.
Oh my god, it was so bad.
You wanted me to sing "Simple Man," and I was like, "Oh,
That's where I met
Yeah,
Heisey
no,
then because I was
totally
like, this guy
remember.
can play
Yeah.
guitar.
oh, Heisey's just ridiculous."
Heisey's a whole
That's when Heisey and I became friends because we were just shooting licks back and forth to each other then.
He's something else. That guy.
But yeah, that was my first memory of you.
Mm.
And then from that
And
point
good
on,
times.
yeah, and then from that point on, just showing up to
Yeah.
Nailed It duo good.
So you
gigs.
thought Bob was an asshole, and I was a drunk. That's Jake's first.
And now look
impression.
at us.
Now he knows we're just both asshole drunks.
Yeah.
But great bandmates. Now that there's somebody else here from Nailed It, I probably have told you this, and maybe not for the world to hear, but I appreciate, and I'm sure he does, and I'm sure Ken does, Jake can see himself, that you were willing to step in when BJ passed.
Oh yeah,
Because that could have been, we could have stopped that altogether.
Mm-hmm.
We could have just done it without him, which would have been the same.
yeah,
But it was the same thing with me with Ghostlight. I feel like if the shoe was on the other foot, if it was me and BJ was still here, he probably would have kept doing it because he would have thought I would have kept doing it.
right.
Yeah.
You know, we did. He complained a lot about. We see you next Friday at 7 farewell tours that one year.
Yeah.
Before we changed our name, he complained about it. But damn, every time we played, we all had a good time.
Yeah.
You know, and when he and I did duo stuff, we had a good time. And you know, it started out with his idea. So I think I really appreciate the amount of like the stuff we've been able to do with you in the band, because we loved him to death. But BJ was stubborn about. There was stuff he just refused to do. He
Yeah.
would not do. He could play it. He
He would-
refused to do it.
Right.
He would not play. He refused to play an electric guitar in that band.
Oh really?
Refused.
He would not bring his electric at all. There was no chance of it. And when it started out, I wasn't even playing. So it was awkward. Bob with no guitar, singing, sitting on singing, him playing acoustic and Ken playing.
Yeah.
At the time, he was playing a cajon. He didn't even bring his kit. Well, he did certain shows. So BJ always had in his head we were going to do something different with an acoustic band. Play different songs. We did. We played some heavy stuff on acoustic.
Mhm.
But yeah, he would not. There was no bringing an electric to our shows.
Right.
That's not what that band was.
Yeah. I
So-
feel like bringing.
and I think that made a huge difference when we play as a 4-piece, having you playing your electric and me playing the acoustic. I think
Right.
it gives a dynamic that we don't have.
Absolutely. I feel like bringing the electric in. I can't even remember what the first time I did that.
I don't know,
But-
because I'm pretty sure the first couple times you played that we even did full band gigs, I think you had an acoustic. Hell,
Yeah.
at some point there was a point where all three of us were playing acoustics.
Yeah.
We didn't have the bass
At the
player.
Union, right?
Yeah.
Oh, my
Oh
God.
no, I bought my bass.
You
from
brought
him.
it. Yeah, that's right.
Kept on changing. You're
Yeah.
like, you gonna change every other song? I was like,
Yep.
Probably.
But yeah, once we brought the electric into it, I feel like it definitely opened a whole new dynamic for Nailed It. and it opened up a lot more variety.
We have a lot of good times, and sometimes,
For what the band is.
yes,
Yeah.
The band is just, it's pretty much a train wreck.
Yeah.
Well, like the concept of a train wreck, because we don't practice.
no, we hope
We just
remember
go
the
in there
songs,
and
we
it-
usually don't.
And 9 times out of 10, I'm playing a wrong note in every song.
Yeah.
But that's the whole purpose of it. And
It's supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
And that's the one thing when Whit nailed it. When I told with Bob, I was like, I don't care if we mess up 100 times. It's just going to be fun.
Yeah.
Keep it as fun.
I will say that us playing the duo when we started doing the acoustic duo stuff together made me appreciate more about not making mistakes. It also made me want to play better.
Yeah.
And I joke all the time about how it's nice now that nobody has to yell at me in mid-song. Hey,
Yeah.
C. No, but no one turns to me like you do, Dave. Just swings the fretboard over and go, follow. But that only happens now when it's something we haven't played.
Right.
Like something you two know or somebody yelling it out to me.
We did that recently when we did that
I
Harvest
actually
gig.
Yeah, but I had to tell you something one time.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God,
Yeah.
the shoe has turned.
Oh,
Yes.
what? Yeah, there was something
I was like
that
yelling out notes to you. I'm like, holy shit, am I telling Jake how to play a song? What is happening? Opposite day.
In all honesty, if we did other stuff, like I would like to learn new
Oh
stuff.
yeah, and I.
Oh, yeah.
But I know it's like, oh, hey, we got a gig coming up. We'll
Yeah.
just run the list.
Yeah.
So
Brush up on the
Hey, you
stuff
wanna
that we
play this
know
new-
that
how
we're
do we
going to
throw this
play.
new one in?
I don't, and you could say brush up all you want. I don't touch it until I come out to the show.
Yeah, I in my head, I'm like, hey, we played these before. Then I get them.
Uh,
Shit, how does this play? Together? Thank God for the iPad. Thank
That's-
God for the changing
interwebs.
My changing my attitude about having the lyrics in front of me. Thank you, Nashville, for showing me it's okay.
but yeah, that's what I like about. That's the whole purpose of Nailed It. I know you get frustrated, Bob, when we're running late.
It's that's the sound guy, also singer, you know, and making sure everybody's good thing. Like it's a lot. I hate doing sound. I hate doing and I'm saying it for the world to hear because I'm sure he's gonna listen. If Ken would just show up 10 minutes earlier, we wouldn't be 10 minutes late every time. He's
Oh,
always got some problem at like a minute till we're supposed to go on.
that's all right.
Damn it, Ken. But
Or he's got a pee or something.
I just don't. That stuff, and anybody that plays with me knows that, and people that go see us know that. That stuff throws my vibe off so bad for a while because I'm too busy thinking about what's going to go wrong next instead of let's play these songs. We go that gig we did in New York for my sister's benefit. That might be the best set we've ever played as a band.
Yeah, we just went out.
The energy was good. We went out. We knew the songs we were going to play. There was no bullshit. And that's how it's supposed to be. We also
had issues.
We also had a professional sound guy. We had like a room.
Put the hat back on.
Jake has said,
My bolts flush.
we were going over our favorite place we ever played. Jake listed that as his favorite place he's ever played a show.
Yeah, that Touch of Texas.
And it was because
show?
of that,
my God.
the vibe of that. I mean, never mind that it was from my sister. It was just the vibe of that room was cool. It was a cool room. Would we have had that same aspect? And they asked, you guys ever come back up here? I'm like, we would, but this isn't, this atmosphere is not going to happen again if we can't play a show for them.
Right.
Like we hit that sweet spot of playing that hour or whatever. And just, we had the same thing with Lebanon at the Brewfest.
Yeah, that was
doing again
that
this
was
year,
fun.
folks.
What I would take. What was I going to say about that? I forget what I was going to say.
It's fine. It's gone now.
There it goes.
It's in the
It's
ether.
gone. It's gone. It's in the.
Well, yeah, there it goes. Right out the window.
Yeah.
I think Nailed It is exactly what it's supposed to be. And
Right.
I think that's why it works when we split down into different, iterations of it. You guys playing or me playing with either one of you or whatever. It's still the same vibe. It's just when you and I play, well, when you're involved, whether it's with him or me, any of those gigs that happen, there's a different set of songs that come out when you're there than when it's him and I.
Right.
And probably the same thing when I'm not there. There's stuff that isn't done because that's the one Bob does.
Yeah.
That's the song. Those are the songoing Dave does. I'm not going to be doing ludicrous raps when you're not there. Well, one, because I can't.
I think you can.
We'll see. I'm going to watch him in a month when I go see him.
Are you going to see him?
I am.
That's
you know what? Why not?
That's the one thing I always say. I haven't been to a show like a live show, or I haven't bought
something
tickets.
that wasn't your own.
I haven't bought tickets in forever. It's I want to go to shows, but
Man,
I'm
I'm not just going to.
I don't want to pay those ticket prices.
I'm not even going to a rap concert. I'm going to a country concert too, which is new for me too.
That's why you know what, you should come with me. I forget when it is, but to go see Wasp.
Wasp, yeah.
You guys would enjoy that. I would hate it. So,
I know Bob loves his 80s hair metal.
I do not. I'm not going to pretend to have a joke about it. I do not.
Well,
I respect a lot of the stuff that was popular, like even some of the stuff we throw into the sets. I like stuff that people like.
yeah.
But you are not going to get me to sit down and listen to an album. Like, that's just not going to happen.
Oh, Bob, you did say you'd never listen to country.
I know, Dave, and now they call me Country Bob.
Yeah, now he has
you're
the
country
nickname.
Bob.
Sometimes you have to bend a little before you break. Dave Grohl taught me that.
He's gonna be coming out with
Tassels
flares,
and-
tassels, and everything one
Not
day.
that kind of country. Eesh.
Rhinestone cowboy.
Look, my hat's backwards most of the time. That's as country as I get these days. I wear trucker hats instead of baseball hats.
Yeah, comes out with his trucker hat and hey dudes.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's about as Morgan Wallen as I'm getting. I'm just saying. I haven't thrown anything off a roof yet, but we'll get there.
But kind of reeling back to when Dave and I met and we all started playing together.
Right.
I think it kind of clicked when we did our first duo show, which, if I remember correctly, was at Victory.
Oh yeah.
It was just the two of us doing a duo gig at Victory Athletic Association. And then I think just in conversation, like through message, we're like, hey, we both do original stuff. And then I wound up sending you something I was working on.
Right.
And then we had just gotten to talking of like, hey, what do you think about doing an original thing? And I had sent you the instrumental and you the instrumental to All of Me. And Bob was like, he's like, this is a sick song. And then you're like, I have lyrics for that.
Yeah, that's cool, man. Someone will write something on that.
But then we got within a couple days, you're like, I've got a guitarist, I've got a bassist. And then I was like, did you just get your other band?
No. Yeah, pretty much. Well, yeah.
Well, which is organic a little bit and picking something. You're playing with guys.
This Dexy has turned into something that I wasn't expecting.
Yeah.
Like
the keys
and all that, but it's working.
Yeah. And
I have not had the chance.
I would like to make it more current, with more current styling, because it is kind of a nod to the older.
Well,
yeah, it's kind of mixture.
You run into a bad problem if you got keys. I think there's a fine line with keyboards and what kind of sound you're going to get.
But there's so many bands doing that now with keys.
Right, but if you don't modernize it, you're almost always going to fall back into an older sound.
Yeah.
And not only that, it's just like the writing process for me is so different now, because I haven't done songs with an original band in a few years. And it's so different because I was never in the proggy kind of band.
Prog metal is... And Joe and Matt are just
those two. Good Lord. Hearing them two, it sounds like they're trying to solve some kind of schematic or whatever.
That's what it basically is. Yeah, it's like wah, wah, wah. It's the peanut.
It's all math. It's all prog math.
Yeah, that's it. And we're listening to them saying all kinds of stuff.
Oh, it's this augmented seven.
Jake and I are like, yeah, I heard that little. I forget. They were saying some words. I was like, what are you talking about?
They're saying words.
They're saying like, oh, it's a solid 7/8 over a 4/4 with an augmented this bullshit. And then Dave and I are like, 4/4 big chunky chords.
Yeah. Yeah.
You guys ever heard of drop D?
Yeah. Well,
you can just ride that string.
We had to laugh because when we were laying down vocals for the two songs we wound up releasing, Bow Before Your Maker and I'm Not All Right. Bow Before Your Maker, that was a Joe song through and through. And you can tell because of all the different time signatures and all this other stuff. And then when we laid down the vocals for All of Me, or not All of Me, sorry, I'm Not All Right, which was a song I had written, you can tell because it is 4/4 straight chords,
Yeah.
no,
there's
difference.
nothing wrong
It's
with that.
gonna. I think that's what's gonna
Mesh.
mesh with the band. Like you'll hear this. What we can do this, and we can do this.
Yeah.
And we can do.
Well,
I can't wait till we do like a full blown rap.
And you've had experience like that because Bullet Method had not maybe the prog side, but you had that album literally again was called No Labels because you guys were going to try anything,
Right?
And you've had an experience where you were just doing different styles that still feel like the same band. So there's no doubt. I can't imagine you guys couldn't get to that.
Yeah,
I could see it. Yes,
I like. Well, yeah, but we're not going to be going like Bullet Method would do 3 songs of country, and 3 songs of. Then we do poppy songs, and then we go metal, then hardcore, and then go and circle it all back around. The whole premise was we're going to hit somebody in this crowd.
Yeah,
we're going to throw it at you,
and you did.
And so 3 songs, the women are going to be going crazy. Then we're going to play the hardcore. The men are going to be happy. And then,
This was one question I had thought of earlier, is that when you had suggested about bringing in a keyboardist, where did you find him? Where did we find Shane?
Shane was, well, that's when Steve was in the band.
Yeah.
Shane was with Steve in a Typo Negative band.
Okay.
And he has it. And we weren't sure, like, about, well, I'll be honest, we weren't sure because we kept on canceling.
Yeah.
So we weren't sure if this band was going to even go anywhere.
Right.
So we knew Shane had the ability for that. And then we had the guitar. So, but I wanted, I said something to Steve about it because I wanted to mix the new style, and I'm hearing a lot of keys now.
Yeah.
So I was like, let's just try it and see if it sticks.
Yeah, I remember you had said, like, hey, how do you feel about bringing in a keyboardist? I had never played with a keyboard, so I was all for it. I was like, sure, go for it.
And Shane, it's spitballing a new idea.
And Shane definitely adds a whole nother layer to it in a good way.
Yeah.
And not only that, he's a goofy dude. I like it.
Yeah. I would imagine
Shane's
too, especially Dave, for the time you spent in music and writing, and Jake's time, that's a new thing you didn't get to do before.
Yeah.
So you got to get to a point, I would think, where you want to try. If you have the opportunity, why wouldn't you try something different?
Why not try? Like, bring it all. Like, bring it all.
You throw it all in and see what sticks.
And I wasn't sure what kind of, but Shane's more like the stringy keyboards.
He's
like,
very orchestral.
He wants more like. I was thinking, let's throw like the Slipknot stuff in there. Like, I hope you die and get sick. I'll be dying. Like weird, so or like that kind of stuff. Like put samples in it too.
He's composing.
Yeah,
over sampling.
Yeah,
that's cool. That gives you a different. That'll give you something unique around here for sure.
Right.
And as a writer, like when I try and sit down and write a demo for like a new song of ours, it's a different writing style now because I not in a sense have to, but I write with the intention of where can I include
keys now.
Yeah. Because not with the one I sent this morning, but there was another one that I had recently sent to you guys that was one of the first tracks that I had actually sat down and mapped out a key part, and it was like some synthy stuff and some orchestral stuff, and it's very eye-opening to be like, whoa, this is like a whole other thing I can play around with now, and it's definitely interesting to say the least.
Because I would have never been in a band and thought to play Ghost.
Yeah,
I would never. But like do. I mean, but it's
as
Bob sits here and judges.
I'm not judge. I mean, I judge everything, but I have thoughts. But it's only about Ghosts, not about you guys.
He's got his arms crossed and everything.
Oh yeah,
judging while we're talking, or he's about ready to fall asleep.
Yeah, do an interview.
Or Bob's gonna be like,
let's just say I'm not a fan and move on.
I was never a fan of them, but
I was always a fan of them. but because I'm a fan of gimmicky bands.
Yeah.
And my boss at work calls me out on it all the time because I'll come in with a band and be like, check these guys out. And she's always like, you and these bands that are either dress up in costumes, wear makeup,
Electric Callboy.
Yeah.
These guys are awesome now. Oh my god!
I went. Unique. I went in the one day with. It was the day after I saw Sabaton, and I went in with a playlist of their set list, and I was like, "Check these guys out!" And she's like, "This is the most boy music I have ever heard." And I was like, "This makes you want to ride into battle and fight things."
Definitely like Viking fight music.
I love it, and I have a love for the gimmicky style of bands.
There's a reason that music exists.
For people like me.
Well, yeah, you're not the only one, or it wouldn't be a thing.
So we put on like costumes for the last show.
I saw.
And Jake was all on board.
I was so happy about
that.
Of course.
As soon as they were like masks and makeup, I was like, boom, I got one and I'm gonna wear it.
Two things I would point out. That one took me by surprise. I didn't think that's what you guys were doing. Two, I realized immediately after scrolling through 3 pictures that you didn't keep to it very well.
No,
because it's the same
I got to work something out with it. I have an idea for it.
Same thing that happens at Halloween. We think it's a great idea, and then we get 3 songs, and we're like, "Oh, fuck this."
I could have wore it the whole night, but I was.
It's like 3 songs deep, and he's like, "Fuck this."
I'm sweating. I can't see
Everybody else kept their costumes on. Some
Joe was a trooper.
Yeah, Joe. He had like a doll mask on and a dress.
And the dress was too small for him.
And he just played the whole night with it on. I'm like, dude, that's crazy.
Hey, find a thing, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Now, our Joe, is that the same Joe you guys have been referring to about a studio or something?
No. That was
different
Joe
Joe.
Nelson. Was the guitar player and
Headcase.
In Headcase. That was his place. Joe was the drummer. Your Joe was the drummer in Headcase at the end.
Okay. Is that how you met Joe?
Yes.
Okay.
And I played in a couple that we did, like when Bob's, like I didn't have any tribute bands, but when Bob was getting started with Next to Nothing, he was like, I need a tribute band for this. Can you do this? I was like, well, I can do it.
You did Korn.
I can do a Korn.
Stained, you did
Papa Roach.
And that's when somebody brought up Disturbed.
Yeah.
And I think I remember you talking about this, like Steve had contacted you or something. I'm like, I don't know why you don't go do this. Like, you're so good at this.
I always never wanted to.
Well, because people when you sing Disturbed at Bullet Method shows or Headcase shows, you sound, well, I've seen the guy several times, and David Draymond's amazing live. You sound better than him on those songs you do.
Yeah, well.
You sound more like he sounds on albums than he does live. And I think that's what people got to, and I think it's probably a good thing that people are into Stricken. There's nothing like it. Although I don't know why I get shit for being in a band, tributing a band that's still playing, but you don't. I see people rushing out to see, like, Foo Fighters tributes. Like, this is amazing. I'm like, they still play.
Yeah.
I catch shit every time we do a show, even if it's once a year, from some random troll on the internet. I don't know why you're doing a band that we can still go see.
I've gotten crap. I like on my stuff, like too, like especially when I do Sound of Silence, and I'm so tired of seeing my mug on video doing that song. It's like everyone just records that song.
I'm not, and
there's so many other songs I do well.
I'm not a huge fan of that version,
but I get a lot of crap for that.
I love that it became as popular as it was, and I think my favorite thing of that is people go, man, David Draymond can sing. I'm like, where have you been for 20-some years?
Yeah.
He could always sing. You just think he makes monkey noises.
Right.
But it just doesn't do anything for me. It's beautiful. I just don't need to hear it.
That's the main thing with the monkey noise thing. Everyone still says that. Like, that's all they know him as.
And it's not
just
true.
Like, hi, my name is. That's all, like, people bust on Eminem about. It's just, hi, my name is. That's like, or he's just a like that guy. He's just that guy.
Not, but I know why.
He's very talented.
Well, I know why people remember him for that.
Mm-hmm.
That we didn't have anything like that when Disturbed came out. Nothing. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I see. I mean, that's like the only video I ever see from Stricken is you doing Sound of Silence. And I don't know. I wanted to tell you this. I hadn't been able to talk to you. Jake and I talked about this. There's another podcast I listened to, and I promised him I wouldn't bring it up every episode, although he did thank us today for bringing it up last episode. He had a guest on, Chris Ryder. You familiar with him, the photographer?
Yeah.
Chris was talking about you on his podcast. This is a Dave Gates solo musician podcast.
Okay,
right?
Dave Gates.
He had Chris Ryder on, and Chris was talking about specifically seeing you, and that song is what he heard the first time he saw you guys. He knew who you were from other things, because he's around the scene all the time.
Yeah.
But he'd come to see a show, and he knows Steve real well, I guess. Steve may have tattooed him, actually.
Yes.
And he saw you, and you guys started playing that, however you have it sampled in, or however you guys do the keys. And he's like, oh, man, I like this guy. I hope he doesn't screw this up. Like, his initial reaction, maybe a lot of people are like, I hope he does this right. And he said that's the thing that he remembers the most about seeing you that first time in that band, and then subsequent times that he's seen you, is how well you do that. Like, enough that he elicits like an emotional response out of it. Like, and I think people do.
Well, that's the thing too, that gets, like, when I'm submitting to play a club,
right.
Like, I think that's what gets us in. Like the Connecticut thing. Like, the guy was like, send us some songs before we were.
And you sent him Sound of
Silence.
Silence.
I sent him 3 other ones, and I sent him the Sound of Silence, and then they're like, okay.
Yep, we got you. We're here.
So.
Well, and I guess that if you want to play the game,
and I wanted to nail that song. Like, that's the most I worked on that song. I worked on that song the most when I first decided to join it. I was like, we got to do it, because if we don't, like, I want that to stand out.
Sorry, sir, we only do 80s Joel.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, and it does. But I like the whole set. But I particularly like the old stuff, like my wife does. In fact, we were in the car the other day. I think on the way to our show, or maybe the way home. They were playing a bunch of live stuff on satellite, and they played Disturbed at like Rockville or something just last year, playing Dropping Plates.
Okay.
And as you well know from all these years, my wife goes ape shit for that song.
I was so surprised with that song.
And
like, I had no idea people loved that song.
Love it. That's probably one of my favorite songs off that first album. It's just a good fucking, like, get it. And you guys do it great. I mean, I think I've seen you do it twice.
Yeah.
Like,
it's staple.
I'm busy and I never get to see my friends anymore.
It's a staple song. Like, everybody wants to hear Dropping Plates.
You get and I'm sure you get the people are just like, oh, Disturbed band, can't wait till they play Stupefy and Down with the Sickness. The radio stuff, which you get. But I found that too with the Breaking Ben band. The older the stuff we play, like the non-single stuff, there were just people like, oh man, the band hasn't played that in 15 years. Like, there's fans that want to hear that stuff, and I'm that way too. I want to hear stuff they don't play anymore.
Right.
I always felt for us that was the whole point. Like, we can go out and do an hour set somewhere and play every radio song Breaking Benjamin did, and we do them well enough, and I think we do a good job. People love it. But those nights we were playing an hour and a half, 2 hours, where we can slide in all these old stuff and stuff off the first couple albums, that the stuff that we really connected to, that's, to me, that's catching people into that means more to me than every single on Diary of Jane. I can do that in my sleep now, but if you want me to play fucking Medicate from the first album, that's what gets me off. You know what I mean? Like, but I think if you're going to have it's sad that Disturbed's signature song is probably Sound of Silence right now for people, because it's not their song. They've always been very good at covers, except that one. I forget what that one was. It wasn't so great.
The U2 song?
Yes.
Yeah.
Not
still
great.
Haven't found what I'm looking for.
Not a great cover. But I mean, we Fell From Zero still does Land of Confusion.
Yeah.
Like, that's do you guys do that?
Yeah, we do that.
I was gonna say, I was wondering.
The one thing that we don't do shout.
Really?
Which we should.
That's
but there's a whole bunch of like background stuff in it. Like, when it breaks down, you can't really hear it. Like, if it's not there, it's just the song falls flat.
You almost need a sample or something running.
And that's what we're working on. We're actually trying to get like to a studio to get those tracks out. Like, because we just basically do the beginning. We don't have a track all the way through the song. But if you listen to all the Disturbed songs, the tracks flow all the way through.
They clearly
they're very mechanical.
They wanted everything to work a certain way. Yeah.
But that's the one flaw I would say about us right now is that we don't have
part of it.
Like, we just have the beginning stuff, but I hear it and it drives me crazy because I know it should be there and it's not.
And you're wondering if people are hearing it too. Then you start second guessing if someone hears it.
Right. So that's the only down thing I feel about. Yeah, I'm not crazy about doing all those songs, but yeah,
But you do.
it's
Now,
still fun. It's fun.
On average, how long are you guys playing in a set? Like,
We're doing we basically do like an hour and a half show. Like, but this past show we broke it.
Do you split it up at all? That's
The bar actually asked us to take a 15-minute break.
Okay.
Like do an hour set, 15-minute break, another hour. It was just us. Which it was cool. It's cool. We did have another offer for up there, but we couldn't do the date. I'm
sure
the guy's doing an Ozfest thing up there.
Okay.
And he wanted to start.
I need to get back on something with Nick about love drafts and get it on a bill. And the last one we did last year was fun because of the bands that were there, but we didn't know anybody there. Like, it's nice to meet other guys and stuff, like other bands, but it's also nice to like get on a bill with our friends that do tribute, like, right, especially locally.
That's one thing I've never done, is I've never been in a tribute band.
I thought you just did a Green Day thing.
That was something totally different. That what Dave is referring to. Over the past 2 weekends, I was a pit player or a pit musician for Dream Rights Theater, here in York, and they were doing American Idiot the musical.
Okay.
And they needed musicians, and initially I wasn't going to do it, but I was convinced into doing it from Ed Allison, because
good old Ed.
He was doing the Sunday shows for both weekends, which I wasn't able to do, but he couldn't do the Friday and Saturday shows.
Okay.
So I said, all right, I'll do the Friday and Saturday shows. That first weekend, they were nice enough to have me, compensate me a place to stay, so I wasn't making the trip
back and
to
forth
and from Schaeferstown. And then it was super fun. And you talk about learning stuff last minute. It was like, I'd say Tuesday was when I got in touch with them. Wednesday, they sent me the music. They said, all right, rehearsals Thursday, opening night's Friday.
Wow.
And
I wouldn't have been able to do that.
And, like, don't get me wrong, I knew a lot of the material. I knew, American Idiot, Holiday, Boulevard of Broken Dreams, Are We the Waiting, and I said to Bob, there's 2 songs that aren't on that album that are in the show, which were Know Your Enemy and 21 Guns. I knew those songs, but there's a whole chunk of stuff that I knew the songs but didn't know how to play them. Mm-hmm. So I had to basically cram the night before, go to rehearsal and hope to God I remembered it. And, the rest of the members that I played with, Jay, Adam, BJ, Charissa, and Roth, they were all phenomenal musicians that were very easy to get along with, easy to work with, and very professional. So we were able to work everything out. And then, there was a couple mistakes here and there, on the opening night, but as we went on, we got to tighten loose ends, and it was a lot of fun. It was definitely a different experience, because I would love to do something. I had never been in a pit.
So, in essence, you were in a tribute band with actors. It's fun. It's fun.
Yeah. Kinda, yeah.
Well, what do you think tribute bands are? We're all actors.
We're acting like somebody else.
But no, it was super fun. It was super fun to be a part of that, because like I hadn't done theater stuff since I was in high school.
Yeah.
Because I was always on the other end of it. I was always acting in the theater shows.
Acting.
I was an actor. No, like last time I had done something like that was my senior year of high school, when I was the lead role in Beauty and the Beast. I was the beauty, by the way.
Right.
I assume you were a guest star.
Yes.
Anyway.
But no, that was definitely like my first and only taste of being in, I guess you'd call it a tribute band. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that would definitely be something cool to do, is to do a tribute.
You just got to be prepared for
the bile that you get.
Yeah,
from it, too.
you're gonna get like, yeah, you're gonna get like we've had like, 'cause we're all bald, pretty much on Steve, I, and Jay.
Minus
We're all
Joe.
bald, and like we had to think, oh, they're all trying to be David Dreaming. Like you get comments like that all the time. It's just.
Like I got that from early on too. God doesn't look like Ben, doesn't sound like Ben. I'm like, well, where? Did the music sound good? Or I mean, then kind of they were like, yeah, at least the instrumentals. I'm like, that's at the beginning, and it's still nowhere is listed. It doesn't say tribute on any of our stuff.
It just says
we said the music of Breaking Benjamin because to me, I think you and I have said tributes to me. You got to have something about what you're doing
that
resembles it, not just musically. And we can't. Well, I mean, Craig grew a beard, put glasses on. He looked like a guitar player, so over there. Jimmy looks more like the guitar player, but I'm never gonna look like Ben Burnley. I mean, I was so happy when he grew a beard. At least I was that. You know, I'm not tall, I'm not lanky. I don't, you know what I mean.
Right.
I don't play in the band at all, which he barely does now too. But no one remembers that. No one remembers that. Now he plays 4 songs in a whole set. They remember when he was the only, him and Aaron were the only guitar. You know what I mean? So it's a weird thing, but there's a lot of take all the shit. That band
take it.
made me realize you don't read the comments.
Right.
Never read the comments.
Right.
No.
Because it will just fucking piss you off.
Or if you do, you just say something snide back, and it doesn't even have to be like you could be joking about it.
It turns into a war.
Yeah. I joke like.
If like you said something like somebody I know, that's one thing. But when a random stranger just starts going in on they can come at me all they want. I already go after myself every time I hear a recording. But to go after the band when I know the effort the guys and I put in with them is ignorant, and it's find something else to do.
But a lot of people can like you're always going to get it, like the keyboard armchair warriors, keyboard warriors. I think they stop. So it's like I never took any of that stuff personally. Like I never got into a battle with somebody. Like I never gave them the satisfaction.
Right.
Yeah, and I won't ever again.
Yeah, it's just
unless it's like something like ignorant,
if they're
down. But
being
if it's
total
some guy being like, well, you suck. Well, thank you.
What are you doing?
Like I used to yell when people would say, we got that instant transmission all the time. Probably because we were too drunk to play the songs right. We were just having a party, but I would get people in the back. You guys suck, and my first thing was, thanks for buying a ticket.
Yeah.
Like
we did that. Yeah, I had that I remember with Steve, like somebody actually took the time to put a cardboard thing up saying you guys suck. I was like, did you pay to get in here? Yeah. I was like, thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for taking
That's all we needed
to write that sign.
That's all we needed. But it's like,
hey, haters going to be haters.
Yeah. I don't care anymore.
You know what? You get to a point where it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
I would worry more about that if it was about my
especially if you know who you are. Yeah, we're all talented. Yeah. We all have talent. It's like, you can complain all you want, but are you doing it?
And actually, the guy
I was like, at least we have the balls to get up on stage and do it.
The guy that was blasting next to nothing, once we did a little research, he didn't have any.
Right.
He was like
an angry man that probably got kicked out of 50 bands because of his attitude.
It took about 3 clicks on his profile to realize what kind of musician he was.
Yeah.
As a DJ, karaoke DJ at that.
Fantastic.
It didn't matter, but it mattered in the moment because when I tried to back away from it and politely say, it was our first gig and we don't even know if we were going to do it again, when he started coming in, then Craig and Jimmy started coming in.
Oh,
couldn't. And I was like, now
you get Craig and Jimmy.
Now we're out of hand. Like for Craig to actually speak up about it.
Jimmy, Jimmy, woo.
he's laid out in his old age.
But still, you get, if you get on his bad side, like
he's going to come at you.
Oh, yeah. He'll attack. But
and that's okay.
That's good.
Well, I think we're running longer than I thought we were going to, which is cool. No. We've had plenty of long shows.
It's kind of how the guest episodes go.
Yeah, I like to let people talk. But let's talk about what you got going on this week, because that's
this week, Big Bullet Method reunion at Love Drafts. Yep, we're going to play our whole CD, the 4 original members in the band. So we're going to do that. We have 8088. I think that's one of the bands. Felt Side Out and Silver Tongue. Yeah. So they're all the support for the show, and we're headlining that show.
You are on roughly 11 o'clock, I'm told.
Yes.
From Mr. Heisey.
Yeah, between 10:30 and 11.
I'm going to air his dirty laundry here. You know what he's got to do?
Yeah, Heisy's got a.
Dave has another band he's been playing with, a bluegrass band, which is doing well. They're playing some basically battle of the bands more or less to play a bigger thing. And he found out just this past weekend, that they're last on it, and they'll be playing up till 9 o'clock if it's running on time. And he's got to be at Lovegrass to be able to set up. It's
a 15-minute. It's like a 15-minute
changeover. And he's like, that.
No, it's a 15-minute. They're playing for 15 minutes.
A 15-minute changeover.
No, they play from 9 to 9:15.
Oh God!
And then he's got to like throw his shit in the car and drive from the other side of Lancaster County.
Oh no, to Mechanicsburg.
Like, I'm probably going to roll in and throw my amp on stage, make sure I'm in tune, and we're going to go.
Yeah.
Because I just feel like that's what's going to happen. I'm like, you know what? He didn't know. He knew it was going to be that day. He didn't know if they were on it. He didn't know if they were going to be, when they were going to be playing. Like, they just got all that stuff last week, I guess. Because he told me about it Thursday. When I saw him he was at our show at Fiorentino's. Yeah. And I was like, dude,
he's going to try to see if he can get an earlier slot, but I don't know.
I mean,
but if he can,
like he said, this was something you guys were doing either way. But anyway, I took away from the whole point of time. I just thought that was hilarious that he's, because I've done dumb shit like that too, so I get it. I've left show. Hell, I played half a show with you guys at the Cove and had to leave to go play a film from Syracuse.
Right. We've all done that.
I've done that. In fact, you two are covering. He's covering for me at Riverside.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just announced today. Yep.
Sometimes an opportunity comes up you just don't want to say no to.
Right.
And actually, funny thing too, that same day, someone just asked to play something else. Like earlier in the day, I'm like, now I'm going to do 2 shows instead of the one I originally was going to do anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, sometimes that's where you go. But you have you heard any from anybody about Friday? Like, you got a buzz going? You think it's going to be the?
I think it's like a lot of the people who used to come to see us. We're hearing that they're coming out. Which
and it's
I'm
$10
looking for.
Ahead.
Yes, $10.
It is all age, right?
It is all age. So if you have kids, I mean, if you have kids, you can bring them.
You want them to stay up to midnight, listen to Dave yell at them? That's how it works.
The show ends at midnight. We have to be done by 12, so it's not going to be any further.
Right.
It's not going to be encores or going on too late.
Unless they're built in at 10 minutes till.
Yeah. So
I'm starting to feel like I want to do the nothing more thing, which they do at shows. They literally say, this is our last show. We don't do encores. We're telling you right now, this is it. So enjoy yourself. Yeah. I was like, never heard a band actually say that before and mean it. And they don't do encores.
Yeah.
Like, we should just do that. Well, Ghostlight doesn't get that chance. We're like, all right, we're done. Like, one more song. Like, here's Caroline. We don't even take a break from it. We know we got to play it. But yeah, I mean, you have a finite time. You have to do it. But guys should be good even with the album. You should easily be able to get that in, right?
Yeah, the album's I think the album's like 45. We're even going to throw a couple of our
famous covers, your medleys.
Famous covers, yeah.
You're gonna do the roof medley, Dave? It's on fire,
No,
the break stuff medley.
But we are going to do, since Nailed It does it. We're going to do Pony.
Oh, yeah.
Pony, that's where it originated from.
Okay. That's where it came from, because he was already doing it with them.
Yeah.
And Dave does that nice guitar. Like, he just noodles a lot in that, and it's just fun.
It's fun. And then I think, what is the other? We were going to do like 4 covers, but it turned out we were like, we'll do 2.
You'll end up talking to the crowd and stuff. You know how it goes. You lose track quick.
If we have time, we will. But
that's cool. So that's going on. We don't have anything as a group coming up till September.
Yeah.
We have the Lebanon Brewfest thing again as a 4-piece, and that's the week or 2 after you guys are playing the Riverside gig.
Yep.
And you and I have a Seven Valleys gig, Valley Tavern in September as well. September is the next time I think Nailed It plays.
Right.
As a booked thing.
I think
and of course, I got solo gigs, and you got solo gigs, and you got solo gigs.
I have one this weekend.
Yep. Oh, that's right. You're playing
Saturday. I am, this Saturday. I am at the Sherwood Inn.
Have fun. I just played there last Saturday.
I saw that. I am there.
Or last Sunday.
Sunday.
Yeah.
I didn't realize you were there Sunday. I mean, we wouldn't have made it anyway.
I did see that you were there. I'm at the Sherwood on Saturday. Next Friday, I'm at Fender's.
That's the 27th.
I think so. 27th.
You might see my smiling face.
Ooh.
Going to see Hardy the night before, so.
And then you and I are doing a party
The block
weekend,
party thing,
yeah, the
which
block
I think
party
is
the weekend
hilarious.
after.
You both got booked separately for the same party.
Yeah.
And you're both in the band together, but that's not why they booked you.
Well,
No.
so it was funny because you were just talking about like being offered a show on the same day of something that you've already got going on. I've been offered 2 other shows aside from that on the same date, and they're all private parties.
I got offered 2 different things on the 6th of July when I'm already playing, and you guys are already playing.
Oh yeah, because that one was
the guy came up to us when we were done because he sat in with me on Father's Day, which is good because my voice was not great from singing 4 hours the night before. I gotta watch that. Having to sing 11:30 the next morning was a little rough. But a guy came up and asked if we were free the 6th for a graduation party down in Rising Sun. I'm like, well, let me see what I forgot you guys are playing. I knew that. I'm like, let me see what the guys are doing. I said, I play here till 3. I said, if you want to have the party at like 4:30 or something, Rising Sun's 10 minutes from Northeast. Go, or I can meet you guys there. And then I realized you guys are both playing the block party, and Ken's away camping. So I was like, I told the guy, I was like, I appreciate you asking. And he even said, I didn't really hear what you were playing, but it seemed like you guys are pretty good. Are you guys free for a party? I'm like, this is the weirdest ask.
Yeah.
He emailed me like that night.
Did he really?
Well, that day when I got home, it said, hey, I just talked to you. I wanted to email you so I didn't forget. I'm like, you just go back to your seat and. So.
Yeah, I have a private party this weekend, like in that same neighborhood.
Same development.
In that same, it's a different person.
So you're playing a party, then 2 weeks later you're going back
playing their neighbor's house.
Yeah, and they said all the people that were playing at that probably going to be at this party. So
that's cool.
I have to learn some songs that.
That's the thing about private party. Do you know this?
Yeah,
I just confirmed that date with them the other day.
This is why I keep private parties mostly to the full band, because it's a lot easier to learn something if there's other people under pressure too. Also, there's stuff I can't learn. I can't play alone. I'm just not that guy. I am basic rhythm singer guy, and that's just what I'm going to be. So It is what it is. Well, right. If nothing else, you guys got nothing else?
I don't think I have anything.
I actually have a weekend off. We're going to go have poker run at the campground. And
I did get a show booked for October.
I don't want to hear about October. We don't talk far ahead, yeah. Ghost Light's got, we're playing down Northeast. We're playing Northeast almost exclusively this summer, except Thursday nights.
What time's that run? Your
poker run.
Poker run? It starts at 3, I believe, and goes all night long.
Oh, good luck.
I usually, the last couple of years, it just turned out I had a show on, they do it twice a year. I had a show both times, so I had to come back to everybody being an absolute shit-bomb mess.
Yeah.
Now I get to be part of the ship. I got 2 hands to play. Maybe we'll win some money. Who knows? Can do some shots, eat some food, and hang out with my kids.
Chill out, man. Yeah.
Yep, we're gonna have a good time. I got to do a little work down there.
No, I'll be playing.
The bio kid.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Jake might make an appearance. We heard. Trying to convince him to come down after the gig.
Maybe.
Dude, you could pack up from the Sherwood and be down there in no time.
In like an hour.
Yeah, and we would just be having a great old time at that point. We'll only be a couple hours into it.
Yeah.
Just saying. And keep in mind, Dave, August 3rd, having a party for my birthday. The 3rd annual Pickle Shop Bob birthday extravaganza. Hot and Dangerous is playing.
Oh.
Our friend Travis from The Victory is DJing. And there's probably going to be at least one other band.
I'm coming home from the beach.
It's fine. Stop in on your way.
What beach?
Go down to Kilgore's, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, it's exactly 2 hours from their spot to our front step. I know it.
Kids.
You've been to Craft Haven. It's fine.
Right.
I'll meet you at Brass Balls.
No one's ever going to Brass Balls anymore. That kind of upsets me. That upsets me every year. We're supposed to go down there, but the Bodacious biscuits and sausage gravy.
We've been talking about this for years.
And please put it in.
I was at Brass Balls was with you. Last time we spent any time in one of our Ocean City vacations.
Please put it in the title of this episode featuring Bodacious Dave.
Yeah. Bodacious Dave. I like it.
That's your name in my phone.
Bodacious Dave.
Yes. Anytime I get a text from you, it says from Bodacious Dave.
I think that's an excellent place to stop. So,
all right.
We want to thank our friend Dave Z for being here today, our bandmate and buddy, and it only took us 1.5 years to get you on the show.
Yeah.
We'll do it again. We have something to talk about. I have talked to Jake. I would actually like to come remotely to a Dexia show and interview the band.
Okay.
That would be weird for him to be on either side of it, but I think that'd be a cool thing to do, and maybe I'll grab some sound bites from the Bullet Method boys. I won't have time. I'm not coming early. Well, that being said, we got that in the can, so I'm Bob.
I'm Jake.
I'm Dave.
And this has been Nailed It the Podcast. We'll see you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right.
Nailed it.